Hello and welcome to the Pocket Gamer podcast. It's episode number 521. My name is James. Joining me today is Matthew Ford.
Hello, sir.
Enjoying a second run at this podcast because I just realised 10 minutes in that nothing was recording. We don't usually do that. We're usually more competent. But,
the life of podcasters.
Yeah, but it's fine because second time round things are tighter, so it works that way. And we're going to be diving straight into it. We've actually got a lot of news to cover, and we didn't even get off the first story within 10 minutes, so this is probably a good sign that we can condense and press on. So we're going to be talking about Apple's iOS 14 potentially killing the way that apps gather data. We have got information about the big news this week, Project xCloud, and how that's going to affect you as a mobile user, all the games you're going to be able to play. We're going to be doing new releases, including the likes of Danganronpa 2, MudRunner Mobile, Felix the Reaper, and a little game I understand is called Paper Mario, the Origami King. Matthew's played all of it, and he's got opinions.
Very excited.
But first, it's the news. I'm going to speed run through it.
Cool.
Let's do the thing about Apple. All right, okay, cool. So, if you have any familiarity whatsoever with your iOS devices, you know that every year they roll out another version of the OS. You've got your iOS, we're up to 14 now. 14 is the one that's coming, I believe. Yeah, and with it comes changes. Some of them good, some of them bad. They add things, they remove things, and, and generally your phone slows down, but more on that later. This time, they're adding something that looks small and subtle, but I think is going to have massive repercussions on the way that all apps operate, gather data, and update their ecosystem accordingly. So, if you have a Google phone, if you've got if you run off Android, then you might notice that when you install apps, the phone has to kind of ask your permission to let you access certain things. So when you download an app, a camera app or something, it goes, hey, we're going to need to get access to your camera. Do you give us permission to access your camera, to access your microphone, to access your gallery? And you have to be like, yes, all right then. Or you can say no, and then the app won't work. Either way, you get the choice. Traditionally, Apple hasn't done this. It just you download the thing and then it works. It'll ask you if you want to allow push notifications. So you can try and stop pop-ups from creeping in. But other than that, the apps just do their thing in the background. On the one hand, Apple is now going to be coming over to Google's side of the thing, but even more so. So rather than asking you, hey, do you want to let you use your app or your camera or your gallery or access your contacts or something like that, it's going to add a question when you download something. And the question is going to be, would this app, whatever it is, would like permission to track you across apps and websites owned by other companies. Your data will be used to deliver personalized ads to you. And then you're given allow tracking or ask app not to track. Equally weighted, not with allow tracking this big, taking up the whole screen, and a tiny little thing saying ask not to track, just one on top of the other. Now, I'll ask you, Matthew Ford, would you like your data to be tracked?
I would not, no.
Okay.
You will not get me government.
It's big government. So, likely, you're going to go, ask app not to track. I'm okay.
Yeah.
And then move on with your life. Now, tracking your data, that's how most app models work now. That's how they work out what you're doing when you're using the game, when you're not using the game, how long you're playing for, when you decided to turn the app off, after which point in the game did you get bored? Did you churn after 2 weeks? Did you keep playing the game for 5 months? Did you stop purchasing things after 7 weeks, but you continued playing the game? All this data is being gathered at all times, and it goes back to the companies. And the idea is, on the one hand, they use it to inform the way that a game is developed, and they can tweak things to try and make the game more interesting, engaging, profitable, whatever the angle is. But there's also the other aspect of the data gets passed on to other companies. The data is sold in some cases, and then that is used to personalize ads to you based on the way you've played, the things you've clicked on, and the things you're interested in. We all know about targeted ads. We all know how they work.
Siri listening in.
Yeah, yes, they're all listening to me right now. Apple is giving you a way to opt out of this for every app you download off the bat. And that, because of what your answer there is no, I'm okay, thank you. That's going to be most people's answer. If you ask the average person, they'll probably go, no, thanks, I'm all right. And then none of the apps on your phone are going to be able to track you in the same way. Like, I'm sure they'll still be gathering bits and pieces, but it's going to remove this huge amount of data gathering potential from the pool. And what's it going to be replaced with? How is this going to affect games? Is this going to crash the whole thing?
It could definitely, bring in some not great measures from some companies. From a consumer's perspective, it does seem like a good thing. I mean, as we've mentioned it in the previous podcast, it's I can't see it being a bad thing for us. But for businesses, you do wonder. Lots of them there are data companies that are built off the backbone of this. You have companies like we cover a lot of data obviously on PG Biz, all these stats and everything that come from these websites that literally are devoted to finding out this information. Where are they going to get this information now?
Yeah, we have there's lots of companies that work like things like App Annie and Data Tower, or Sensor Tower,
yeah,
and places like that. And literally what they do is they collate information, and the information is obviously incredibly useful to people developing apps or marketers or whatever. It's a whole big pool of it. And people pay to get access to the resources. And part of that ecosystem is based on you, the consumer, downloading an app and saying, yeah, you can look at all my contacts, you can look at all my photos, you can look at all my data. And Apple giving you the express option at the beginning, before you even start the app up, to say, nah, that's huge. Because in some cases you can stop that stuff, you can remove that tracking, but it's up to you to download it, then dig through all the app settings, go down into deep into your settings and say, turn this off, please turn this off. Excuse me. And that's different. That is very different, because most people, if you ask them, do you want to be tracked? They'll say no. But do they go, do you want to learn how to dig into your settings and do it? They'll be, and I'm watching this cat gif. and it doesn't happen. And that's what that's how the whole thing works. Yeah. It's the same way as the free trial system. The free trial system, 7 days subscription to this service, subscribe to Shudder for 7 days, subscribe to the MGM channel, subscribe to a gin, whatever it is. The vast, a huge amount of money that all those companies make is the month after when you forget to cancel the free trial. That's why that model exists.
That's how they get
because everyone forgets, because everyone's like, yeah, I'll have it for free. And then when it comes to cancelling it, they forget, or they can't be asked, and they go, and they see it on the statement, and then they work out, all right, I'll go and cover it. So this proactive thing from Apple going, do you want this? You don't have to have this. You can turn all this off. I can imagine everyone at the big, at the data companies, the marketing's going, very, very, for the listeners, I was making a silly face, very, very displeased with Apple.
Yeah.
Google, say, give you the option to turn things off at the beginning, but even then they still allow all the tracking stuff to go on. And that's another thing, actually, that Apple's going to force the apps to show you what they're doing. They're going to force you to do that, can we access your camera, can we blah blah blah, like Google already does. Google's based around your data gathering anyway because of the search engine. That's the whole model for it. But Apple's always been cagey. This is a particularly interesting example of we'll keep our data to ourselves, and we're now going to stop you lot getting your data from them as well. And my instinct is great, less people tracking me.
Yep, that's always
But
nice.
I do want to see what knock-on effect this has on the way that apps are developed and the way that the marketing model works. Because if it sucks a huge chunk of that out, it's going to become less accurate, and potentially they're going to have to replace it with something else, which could be better or could be worse.
Yeah, that was the big thing that came into my head, accuracy, straight away. As you mentioned. It is similar to GDPR, which was introduced a year and a half ago or whatever. But yeah, the accuracy of data and everything like that, you already have that with so many polls and everything out there. There's already questions about data. So yeah, surely we want more accuracy, if anything. But yeah, this seems like it might go the other way.
Yes, well, we'll have to see. The other cute bit of information that was released was about, hey, you know how that thing where you download a new iOS version and your phone completely folds like a cheap table because it's reduced it to running like walking through tar, like what happened with me and my older iPhone S, and I had to roll back the update. Well, you can sue Apple for that now, for the princely sum of $25. Just $25. That's what you could get.
That's what it's worth.
It's not even worth the paper. This is part of a big lawsuit that's going on against Apple, and you can add a claim to it and say that if you have an iPhone 6, 6 Plus, 6S, blah, 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 all the way up to 7 Plus or SE, you can claim for the fact that the latest update slowed your phone down significantly, because Apple has admitted foolishly, to deliberately slowing down older models in order to encourage people to buy new models. And people objected to that. And this is the response. And the response is, all right, well, you could add your claim and maybe you can get $25. Now, it says can submit claims for $25. My initial thought was like, oh, that's what it costs to submit the claim. But I think that's actually what the win is if you
that's
succeed.
right.
And this is up to $500 million. So that's the amount they've got in the bank to cover this. They've allotted 500 mil to give people these tiny little $25. Oh, it's just such a waste of everybody's time. It's like, imagine that. I mean, it's literally not worth the time to submit the claim.
No, it's disappointing to hear. I mean, everybody's had an inkling this has been happening for quite some time. Just with the amount of people that have iPhones and everything like that.
Well, they admitted it in 2017.
Well, yeah. I don't know what the solution is to it. I guess it's one of those things with vote with your wallet. If you don't agree with Apple products and how they run their iPhones, there's plenty of other options available.
I do imagine that you get the same thing on older phones. So every time there's a new upgrade and you upgrade the OS every year, it runs. It is designed to run on slightly newer phones, and ergo the old phones start to struggle. It's just the actual ecosystem of it. Deliberately doing it, deliberately making it so that it runs worse when it doesn't actually have to. That's different, and that's what is being addressed here. So get your $25 if you can really be bothered. Now, the big news, the proper news. Let's talk about this. So, Project xCloud. The big announcement that came this week was that it is being rolled into the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription in September. So, provided you're in a qualifying country, if you've got Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, which gives you access to the over 100 games that they've got on their subscription service, and you can play that on both the PC and the Xbox, that's what the Ultimate bit allows, the cross-platform, you will automatically get access to the Project xCloud system, and all of those same games you'll be able to play remotely on your tablet or on your phone. From the off, at no extra cost. So, did Microsoft just kill Stadia?
Well, yeah, it does feel like the last nail in the coffin in many ways. There was a Google Stadia Connects last Tuesday. Many people forgot about it, I feel like, and it was it was a bit awkward. I remember the amount of people seeing in my little bubble just being like, did a Google host something today? It was like, yeah, they announced the games that came out last year are coming to the platform, and here's Orcs Must Die 3 again for the 7th time. Yeah, bless. Poor Orcs Must Die 3. It's literally holding Stadia up. I mean, it's fantastic from Microsoft. What they've been doing from a consumer's perspective has been really amazing for quite a couple of years now, and this is another great value to Xbox Game Pass, which is probably one of the best deals in gaming right now. I mean, what is the Ultimate Pass? How much is it? Is it $7.99 now? Is it
So I actually did double check before we went on here. If you want to get an Ultimate Pass subscription for a year, you can get it for about 80 quid-ish, 85 quid for a year subscription. So yeah, it works out about £8 a month or something like that.
Yeah.
And for the year, and for that you get access to the entire Game Pass library, which is really good, a really genuinely good mixture of old games and new games, and they've got the GTA 5 on there, but you, on all the exclusives as well. So you've got
as soon
your
as
Halos
they drop, it's
there.
On the day as well, isn't it?
Exactly,
which is huge.
So your Gears 5 and your
Halo.
Halo, exactly. So all that stuff's available. It's genuinely a great deal, and you can download them as well. You don't have to stream them. That's not what it's all about. And the Ultimate Pass lets you play them on the old PC as well, if that's what you want. But all they're essentially doing is and now, come September, you can play it on your phone. You can play it on your tablet, and provided you've got an Xbox controller, you're off. You're away. That is kind of huge when the entire model for Stadia is a subscription service based on a library of games that's tiny, which is even more restrictive in terms of what you can do, because in order for Stadia to compete, you would need to automatically bang, here's 100 games that are really good, including platform exclusives, big AAA platform exclusives. You'd need that straight off of the bat. You'd need the option to download the games as well as be able to stream them. So that's what games, the Game Pass, you can download the games onto your hard drive. So they're physically on your console. You can play them offline, do what you like. Or you can stream them to a mobile device if you want to. It gives you both options, whereas Stadia is streaming and streaming only, and if the internet cuts out, you're boned. That's it. So this is like more fully formed, more fully featured than Stadia is, and it's going to be like for like 8 to 10 quid a month. It's going to be cheaper.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to justify Stadia now. I feel like early on I was like quite lenient with them. I was like, oh well, you know, it's teething issues. You know, it is new technology. They are helping pioneer this in some ways. You know, helping ushering it into new age. Which xCloud was a big thing, but you know, Microsoft just feels like they've beat them at every hurdle right now, and this is another fantastic initiative. Which I just don't know how Stadia are going to come back. I actually did, funny enough, on the PGB's podcast, I did make a prediction that I think Stadia might actually relaunch this year, because I feel like it's coming up to their 1 year in November, so I feel like they've got to do something big. Like they've got to try and bring people back and do something. I don't know what that is.
They should try releasing a game.
Yeah, that'd be nice. You know, maybe they just relaunch it and go, oh no, that was actually beta. This is actually forget about that. This is actually the real launch. But no,
they should have done that all along.
We should have done.
But the only thing with this is, like, I've played Stadia. I've not tried the xCloud. Maybe it's a shambles. Maybe it doesn't work well. Maybe it's laggy as hell. Because say what you like about the Stadia, like, I did play it, and I've tried it on a couple of different internet connections, and one was more laggy than the other, but it was still fine. I could still play it okay. And the other one was basically perfect and running, you know, full 1080 rock solid. It was great. It works. The infrastructure works. I don't know about xCloud. I've not tried it. So having 100 games is great. If they play terribly, lag all over the place, there's a poor connection, etc., then it's useless. So...
yeah, I mean, obviously we've got to find out for ourselves. Obviously, stuff I've seen on the web seems to be pretty positive. I've not seen like the big articles saying, you know, oh, this is a complete failure, what a mess that was Stadia very early on. You know, there was very much that headlines about that. Although it's not as big of an initiative, it's not the pillar that's holding up the platform for Xbox. It's just like a neat little add-on.
Yeah, that's true. It's just a bonus outside of the existing stuff. And of course, you've got the new consoles coming out this year as well. So you got your Series X and you got your PS5 and everything. So this is just a little, you know, cherry on top of it. And we've still got to see what Sony does, because they've got PlayStation Now. Whether that just rolls over into PS5 and you know they expand it and make it better, more efficient, you know, start pushing it to mobiles themselves. Who knows? They're gonna have to work something out. I know that they were working with. I feel like they were working with Microsoft. There was something that came out there about their servers and the infrastructure.
There was, yeah. They've got to do something. It's got to be, you know, it's by far the future. It's one of the next big things for gaming, isn't it? You know, people are still wanting that Netflix of games and everything, subscription services where, you know, you can download it all, go on you go. It's accessibility as well, you know, ease. I think it'll be such a big proponent next generation. So I think Sony definitely will be thinking about it.
But this completely changes in some ways the way that we cover games, because if this happens, this big turnover, now we've got Google Stadia, and then if this works as well, then it's going to be this big option of, no, you can legit play full console games like on mobile, and it's a real option now. They are all going to require a controller. You're not going to be able to play these things with touchscreen. I'm sure they'll have an option, and it'll be unusable, like they always are. But I really want to get my hands on this, and if they pull this off and then Sony dives in, then this kind of changes things in a huge way. So we have to wait till September for this all to get rolled in together. And we're very excited to see, because it's going to be Halo Infinite. It's going to appear as a Series X launch title this year, and that'll go straight on Game Pass. And so, hey, you could play Halo Infinite out the doors on your mobile phone. That's how you want to experience AAA, isn't it? A little.
It's like that classic thing of I know this. It'd be like how everyone goes to like films when people are watching Christopher Nolan films, and like the phone and stuff is like how Nolan would have wanted it. For this, you go, it's how Phil Spencer would have wanted it. Like,
yeah, he probably does want it though. I doubt he's going to be like, no, you must play it on the largest TV. He's like, no, play it on wherever you like, as long as you get paid. I'm fine.
He don't care. Yeah.
Okay, we'll cut off there and we will move straight into the new releases. So, out and about this week. We're not going to bury the lead. We're going to start with you, Matthew. New Mario appeared, and I've had a look. I've had a peruse of the old scores, and interesting results. Now you've played the whole thing and finished it. This is Paper Mario: The Origami King, by the way.
I did. Did you read my review?
I've skimmed over bits of all of them because I've had to. I just wanted to see what the general general feeling was, and the feeling is interesting with this one. So first of all, where does this come from? This is a continuation of the Paper Mario series, right?
It is. It is the 6th entry. So the series started in 2000. It was one of the final N64 games.
Oh wow! Okay.
And it was I don't think it sold particularly well because it was one of the final ones. One's great. They're like a RPG series. They've got unique taste, very funny dialogue, creative characters and creative worlds. Something you don't normally like. It's not the traditional Mario world normally. You go on to explore different lands. Then you had Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, which came out in 2004 for GameCube. It's one of my favorite games of all time. I love it. I play it arguably yearly, and it's just one of those random games I got gifted one Christmas. And these are like traditional games, traditional RPG games, the first two. Then they changed the series up in Super Paper Mario, and it became similar to, the 2D Mario games, where you could split to 3D, and it was more of an action platformer, which was good. Okay. Then we had Sticker Star on the Nintendo DS, which was
Nintendo. The Super Nintendo.
Super Nintendo. Cool. So Paper Mario. So Sticker Star on the Nintendo DS, which was pretty terrible, and we don't like to talk about that. It just zapped the life out of the series. Then we had Color Splash on the Wii U in 2016, I think, which had its moments. It still wasn't great overall. It focused on these sticker mechanics, and just it never was. It was the fighting system. It really took a lot of the fun out of it.
Okay.
And now we return. We'll call up today with Paper Mario: The Origami King on Nintendo Switch, and it's sort of a mix between the originals and the new ones. It's sort of at the halfway point. So we start off. It's very traditional. Start off with Mario and Luigi are en route to Princess Peach's castle. They've been invited to the Origami Festival, and they get there and the town's deserted. They make their way to the castle and they find Princess Peach has been transformed into a origami version of herself. Okay. And it's really creepy. She just like tiptoes out of these huge doors, and it's all like dark and weird and mysterious, and you're like, this doesn't feel like a Mario game if you've never done one before. And then from there you get dropped into a dungeon. You meet the Origami King himself, who is I don't know how to describe him. Yeah, he's an origami man, but he's like a tiny little fairy thing. Okay. He's more threatening than I think I'm describing him.
Yeah, I'm not quaking in my boots. I will.
No,
I will admit.
He's called Ollie, and he has a sister called Olivia. Olivia becomes your partner for the adventure. And you quickly, basically, you get thrown out the castle, and he wraps up Princess Peach's castle in 5 streams of like paper.
Okay.
Streamers, I think they're called, and you have to venture into the world to unravel these streamers and then go save the Princess Peach. So very, gotcha. Normal Mario setup, but from there, that's where everything changes, because you go on to these unique lands, stuff you don't normally see, and it's why I really love the series and everything like that. And it does feel like a return to form in some ways. It's not as good as the original 2. It's still not on that level, but after having nearly a decade of sort of mediocre to bad games, it was hugely refreshing to go into this. It was a very good like palate cleanser as well. After playing very like stuff like The Last of Us, very dark games and everything like that, and obviously just the world we live in at the minute. So it's very uplifting in that sense. But so I just want to spotlight the battle mechanics. So first of all,
that's the thing I don't know, because I know there's been RPG versions of this series and everything else. What's the actual gameplay of this?
So this one's an action puzzler, and you get it's a ring-based system. So you go into. So you find an enemy in the battlefield, you jump in, and then it turns into like a battle scenario. Mario's stood in the center, and you have I think it's about 4 rings surrounding you, and you have to rotate all the enemies and line them up. So you can rotate or slide them into position.
Okay.
And once you've done that, you get like a heightened attack power, and then it goes to like normal attacking. So you with hit points and stuff. So you jump on it and you have to press A at the right time. And then you take them out, and then you've got like hammer, jump, and items. But the main mechanic is the puzzle aspect of it. Sliding and rotating everyone into place. Now, that's for normal boss battles. The normal battles. What I love is the boss battles. So these change it up, where Mario is actually outside of the ring itself, and the boss is stood in the center, and you have to. There's arrows on the floor, and you have to line it up and help Mario get to the center to attack.
Right.
But there's all sorts of elements being thrown into account for there, like there's like elemental battles. So like one's a fire phoenix, another's a nice bear, stuff like this. Like they're made out of origami and stuff like that. It is a bit like weird and wild, and that's why it's great. And then they'll like throw their attacks at you, and like half the panels be covered in fire, and you've got to work it out. So there's massive puzzle elements to it, and it really worked for me, especially the boss battles. I thought they did enough to keep changing it up, keep it refreshing, and I really enjoyed it. Then the other big things, they've brought back partners. So I'll just stop there and ask you, James, have you ever played a Paper Mario, first of all?
No.
No,
I never played Paper Mario. No, I've watched videos. That's it. That's as far as I've gone.
You're aware of the series, though?
Yeah.
So one thing that's been missing for quite a while has been partners. So again, they were in the original two. You have like somebody on your team. They've got their own attacks and everything like that. They're back this time. They don't have their own attacks. They're more like a bit decorative in battles. They just stand there and they attack of their own will now and then. But in the story, they are so well written, and that's one of the best things about this game. It's so funny, like genuinely. The writing is tip top. Like I'm laughing out loud at lots of moments throughout it. Every character's got such a unique personality, brings something different, and they help push the story forward. And they never feel like they outstay the welcome too. And it's a bit strange. So one partner leaves very emotionally. And I was not ready for it in like a Mario game. Whereas another partner kind of left quite unceremoniously, and it's like, okay, so we're playing favourites here a bit. It was a bit of a strange decision.
When you say left, what do you mean? As in they left the party or something?
Yeah, they stay with you for maybe a chapter or two.
Oh, okay.
And then they move on and do their own thing
Gotcha.
in this big open world that you're exploring. Because the old games used to have chapters, so you play chapter 1, move on. This is one big open world, but it's still very linear. You have to, go to certain ones in order and everything like that. And and the other big thing they brought in is it's from Colour Splash, was confetti. This is one of the you're walking around the world, and there's holes everywhere, and Mario just throws confetti on them and it fills in the holes. It was something they had in the Colour Splash game where it's paint, and this time it's confetti, and it's just like a neat little thing. I thought it was fun. It adds a bit to the world, as I say. And the other puller of that is toads. So toads are everywhere. The little mushroom men. I know you're not a big Nintendo guy, but you know toads. So toads are hidden everywhere. They're like a puzzle mechanic. They're just literally everywhere. You'll like hammer trees, floor, and then you'll maybe get hints of them around. They'll be folded up into like little butterflies, and you've just got to find them. So they help branch out the world a bit and keep things going. I think I've rambled on enough, but
but you're in the light camp, because I've seen a little bit of mixed stuff on this. I've seen the 9s and stuff, but I've also seen the kind of, this is one of these 7 kind of things.
Yeah, 7's not. I always think 7's not a bad score either.
No. But for Nintendo first party Mario stuff, people tend to gush. People tend to go straight to the 8s and the 9s, and everyone's amazing.
Yeah.
And anything less than that, people kind of go And it's, for me, from looking around, it's got a mixed reception.
I'd say mixed to good. I've seen, a few outlets, as you say, gave it 9s and stuff like that. It's got a Metacritic of 82, So that's
not
pretty
bad.
high. I just, it's not an amazing game. It's not like a 10 out of 10. This is going to blow your mind. It's just a solid entry, and we haven't had a solid entry in this series for a long time, over a decade. And not every game needs to be 10 out of 10. I don't think, some of the most fun games I've had are 8 out of 10s, 9 out of 10s, even 7 out of 10s.
No, I agree. Quirky and unusual but flawed is always better than like super polished, bland.
Exactly.
Yet another open world. I think that's what's coming up with a lot of games, a lot of AAA stuff now, especially all the open world ones, where it's like, yes, technically this is very polished, but maybe gameplay-wise people aren't as enthused, or it's just more of the same thing you've seen before. And we all like a little bit of variety. So
yeah.
This is a Nintendo Switch only, of course, as all these things. Pure first-party goodness is available right now. Go and read Matt's actual full review, which is over there. On .com.
That's actually on Tech Radar. I've got to give that a shout out.
Tech Radar?
So it's part of my freelance work, so I've got to give them the shout for that.
Fair play, Tech Radar it is then. So, we'll talk about some other stuff that's been out this week. Let's go straight to mobile, though. I think this appeared on Switch and PC and other things as well. The Gardens Between has appeared on Android. This is something that we covered around about a year ago on iOS when it came out. I don't know if you've seen this. This is a really nice loopy little puzzler where you take control of a pair of kids who are wandering through a weird world, but specifically it's a 3D world. Imagine the Monument Valley thing where there's a structure in the middle and you can move the camera around the outside. And you're trying to walk them around, usually in an upward way, round and round and round, a little tower, an outcropping of rocks, whatever it might be, to get to the very top. And at the top there's a little light thing which you need to get collected and then flies off into the sky. But the only way to get up there is to navigate the path, and the path has kind of got puzzly bits and obstacles in the way. But the thing, the trick, the hook, is that you can move time forwards and backwards. And the idea is by moving time forwards in some instances and watching stuff play out, and certain actions, there are other objects in the world, and there are these lanterns that, for example, jump from tree branch to tree branch if you're walking around a big tree. And you can stop them mid-flight, and then you can rewind them. Of course, your characters will start to walk back as well, but you can change the position of certain things, and you can move forward to the point where a lamp drops to the floor and stops, and then your character's beside them, and then you can maybe light the lamp, so then that lamp ignites. And then you reverse time, and that lamp will fly back the way it came, back onto another branch where there's something flammable, and then it will ignite, and then you can make time go forwards again, and now that branch is still on fire. So when you walk up to it, it will have burnt through, broken away, and now the pathway's cleared. So it's very lateral thinking. It's very like, right, okay, if I do this bit, and you need to go first, you put that thing down, then we reverse time, then we walk back again. But it's all presented really beautifully, and it's got a very nice kind of lilting, melancholy style, and it's sort of a story about loss and stuff, and there's lots of reflective things, and it's quite abstract. It's like you're wandering through a dream world. It's really nicely done. We liked it a lot. So it was an iOS-only game at the time, as far as mobile was concerned. This is now on Android. It's going to be premium. We recommend you give it a look, though, because they've got a review video up from last year and a standard review. Go take a peek. Felix the Reaper. I sent you a link for this one. I don't know if you've seen this. This is weird. I've seen a couple of videos.
Weird, that's all right.
Yeah, weird is good. I've seen a couple of videos of this, and I've seen it over time as well. We don't have it on the joint account yet, but I've been following this since back when the graphics looked like quite different. It is a game in which you take control of Reaper, who is effectively death, right? He's a Grim Reaper, and the idea is he has to plot out people's demise. He has to wander around engineering deaths in a very Final Destination kind of way.
A romantic comedy game about the life of death.
Sure, yeah, good hook, good tag. But the idea is that you have to set up the kind of impossible machines thing where, right, if you move on a grid, because it's all set up on an isometric grid, basically, and you have to make it so that, right, if I put a stag in the middle of this road, then when the person walks down, the stag will charge at them, but I need to make them charge it. It's not just going to charge of its own accord, so I need to set this thing up where it fires a crossbow into the arse of the thing, and it goes wow, then charges forward, and that causes a car accident, and the car spins off and then decapitates the person on the side of the road. So you have to set up a chain of events that will eventually result in someone's death. There are a few restrictions to how you play the game, main one being that it's done from a top-down sort of isometric perspective, but you can move the camera around, spin it around the area, the world, to view, but you can change the angle of the sun. and you have to stay in shadow because you're working for the Ministry of Death. You're a Grim Reaper, not the Reaper. I don't know how. You're just called Reaper. I think you're one of many. But you have to stay in the shadow. So you can change the position of the sun by pressing a button, and it goes like swings around maybe 90 degrees. And as a result, all the shadows do. And that means it changes which tiles you can walk upon at any given moment, and you have to keep switching backwards and forwards to move around the world. The other thing about the game is that it's goofy as hell, as you might have gathered from the title, but like
trailer.
Death looks like he's got the face of like General Grievous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's like an overweight General Grievous with headphones on, and he kind of like dances away through all of the levels. And he's got the headphones are there because there's music. Like he's bopping away to music while all this is going on. So it's got this really weird like comedy surreal tone to it.
I hope halfway through he goes like General Kenobi or something. I just want something like that.
He's going to do the whole thing that he does, but it's very unusual, and it's now available on iPhone and iPad. It's a premium game. It's a slightly different version because it was already out on Steam. And they've done it's a unique version, they say. So they've tweaked gameplay, obviously, to work with the touchscreen controls and everything. But I think they've also changed some other stuff. So they've added more music to it. They've added dance moves that apparently have been made by real dancers. Because he almost like, he's bopping around the level. He's almost like break dancing his way around the world. And there's a little love story now in it that wasn't there before. So they've changed it. It's £3.99, $3.99 on iPhone and iPad. I don't know if it's on Android or not, but quirky, interesting, maybe worth a look.
I think I might have to.
How are you into these? There's been a few games I've seen popping up online. I've seen people streaming it where you're effectively playing as like a car recovery service. Have you seen these games where it's like
no, what's this?
Well, in the same way that you have the games which are like Euro Truck Simulator and stuff like that. This is tow truck simulator. So right. you take control of a vehicle which is a big truck, and the idea is you have to make deliveries through very muddy, off-terrain areas. So stuff where it's like going off-road, and maybe you'll have something where there's a car stuck in a bog somewhere, and you have to get out there with the head of your truck, and then rig up cables, and then pull the truck out of the mud, and then take it back to a home base. But the problem is the terrain. The problem is that you can get stuck in the mud at any given moment, and it'll sink in, and you have to spin the wheels rather, and then you have to change the way that the gearing system's working on your wheels. So you have to change the differentials and change the power to each bit, and it gets very like Gran Turismo with it all, as in micro-changing bits of your truck to make sure you can get out, and then firing tow cables at trees and things like that. Well, they've got one of those kind of games. It's called MudRunner, and it has appeared on mobile as well. Again, I think this was a PC game originally, and they've now put it over to iPhone. We haven't got this one, but again, I went online and I did my video research, and a lot of buttons in this, Matthew. One of those ones that's clearly come from PC, and now they're like, right, we need to cram about 50 buttons onto the screen. Don't know how that plays. I can say that the people I watched playing it were fans of the original game, so they were assessing it on a like, right, how's it come over. They've been quite pleasantly surprised with how much of it's come over and how good it looks. But I haven't played it, so I'm not going to pass judgment. But
there's always a big audience for these sort of things. Obviously, Farming Simulator, that's massive. Like, it's crazy how well that sells.
You mean an audience for the niche stuff?
Yeah. So
yeah, like and they're going the full realistic simulation business, and it looks the part. I would need to play it because I don't know how fiddly as hell this is going to be on mobile, especially when it's a game that's built around like subtle adjustments and frustrating moments because it's something stuck and you're trying to get it loose. And we'll have to wait and see. It's currently available. It's iPhone and it's iPad apparently, so you can get that right now. What have you got? Oh yeah, so the Professor Laytons continue to appear on mobile. So we've been working our way through the original 3, and this is the 3rd entry in the series. So Professor Layton and the Unwound Future. That's the next one to appear. So I think Curious Village came up in 2018, I want to say.
Sounds right, yeah.
So they've just been gradually working their way through it, and we're at the 3rd now. So he receives a letter from the future explaining that London's been thrown into complete chaos after the world's first time machine And then, so the Professor and the present-day version of Luke go off and try and stop bad things happening. And you can get it. I've not played this one. I did play the first port, so I did play the one that was released in 2018, and it worked really well on mobile. It suits a touchscreen device.
They're charming games, I find.
Well, they're very charming, and also they came over from the DS, didn't they?
Yeah, that was a big start, wasn't it?
They had an element of like touchscreen built into them already, and mobile, so it all fitted very nicely and very organically. And I'd be surprised if they'd messed this one up as well. It's expensive, again, these games always are. So $13.99 on Google Play. I assume it's over there on Android at a similar price, if I had to guess. But that's out right now. What else have you played? You mentioned something you played.
Trivia Royale.
Oh yeah, you've been doing quizzes and that.
I have, yeah. I'm addicted to it. It's so right. So it's from the creators of Quiz Up, so Tea Time Games, but it's a battle royale this time, because of course we need more. But
yeah.
it's an interesting spin on it. It's a quiz. So the main mode is you get about 1,000 people. Normally, I've had about 1,020 on average, thrown into like a big group, and you go head to head with people over a set of 5 questions over any topic. So it's like general knowledge, and then you progress through until you're the last one left, basically. I haven't won one yet. I got down to, I think, 7th. I think that's my best so far.
Out of 1,000, that's pretty good.
Yeah, but it's not like you face everyone. It's like you need to do about 16 rounds to win, I think, something like that.
Yeah,
because it keeps halving and halving and halving. Yeah, that sort of thing. But I was quite happy with that. But aside from that, the mode which I've been playing most is like your general specific topics. So they've got like, I don't know, 30 topics. Everything from superheroes to Harry Potter to animals, anything like that. And of course, I've been going for video games. And
subject, video games.
So what I like about it is it's the ranking. That's where the fun comes from, because it goes specific to the world, to the country you live in, and your city. And yes, so I live in York, and I am now top of York for video games, and I am owning that. I've got to do my home city proud. I've got to represent. So.
Is this like being king of a Costa?
Pretty much, yeah. It's a good way of putting it. But I've been sending all my friends pictures and stuff like that, saying, "Hey,
you have been gloating."
Yes, I've been like, yes, know your place.
I don't know if does this count as a massive self-own though? When you're like, "Look, I got the head of this quiz app in gaming knowledge," and everyone's going, "That's not the brag you think it is, Matthew." Well done.
I know, but like I've got my sights on UK so far now, because I'm like 75th or something in video games. But it's crazy because you've got to do head-to-head wins and everything like that. So I'm on like 22.
Okay.
In video games, and then the top first is like 1,024. And the game's only been out like less than a month.
Jeez.
So it's I don't think I'm going to make that. I'm like, oh, maybe I can get to top 50 or something.
Press for national champion, and then the world, Matthew.
Then the world. Yes. First England, then the world.
A neat quiz nerd. Awesome.
But it's lots of fun. Lots of specialist categories. The Battle Royale aspect, I think, is very good. It's a clever change up. It's $2.99 to take off adverts. Okay. I think it's very worth it. On top of that, there are rewarded ads which you can choose to do, and you get like double your coins and stuff like that, which you can spend on an avatar, just like of yourself and everything like that. So hats, anything to change your face, anything like
just
that.
Visual
really.
Stuff, cosmetic.
Yeah, that sort of thing.
Good.
But yeah, I've just found it just a nice little thing to jump in for 5 to 10 minutes now and then. And yeah, it's lots of fun, and it doesn't take that long, as I say. No,
good quick quiz apps are a massive boon, especially in our current situation. Everyone's looking for different ways to interact online still. Even though things are opening up a bit now, they're going to be closing up again soon. You wait, you see what's happening in California? Yeah, look forward to that. Winter's going to be awful. So the more of the stuff we have in the bag that can occupy us in the meantime, the better. So yeah, look out for that. What's the full name?
Trivia Royale.
Trivia Royale. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so free to play, $2.99, take ads off. I think it's totally worth it.
Nice. All right. Finally, we followed up the Professor Layton port sequel. We've got Danganronpa 2, Goodbye Despair Anniversary Edition. So we covered a couple of months back when Danganronpa came out, the first one, onto mobile. It worked well. It was a good port of the game. We felt comfortable with it. It's mostly a visual novel anyway, so this stuff works nice and easy. But no, the transition was good. We liked it, and here we go. The second one's appeared. We expect the same. I haven't heard anything like, oh, they've completely messed it up this time, because, it's effectively more of the same sort of thing. And I'm going to guess it comes with the same big price tag. Yes, $10.99 or £10.99 for the sequel. So that is currently available right now if you want to go and give it a grab. That'll do. That'll do for this week. Now, next week, there's not going to be a traditional podcast because of Launchpad. Pokemon Launchpad, folks, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. That we're going to be doing these 2-hour-long shows every day, so that will fill the gap of it. So it probably won't be transferred into audio form because it's not that kind of show. So we probably won't put it up as a podcast, but there will be 6 hours of effectively this, chat about the games that are out this week.
Not this,
but you know what I mean. Like, there's going to be
this?
There's going to be a lot more than that, but it's going to be a full show, B-roll, production things, trailers, announcements, blah blah blah. But there's going to be plenty of stuff to watch and or listen to in its place. What I'm saying is we're not forgetting about or ignoring our commitment to chat to you folks every week. So you'll be able to find even more than usual. But podcast service will resume normally the week after. We'll see you then. And thank you for listening. Thanks for joining me, Matt.
Thank you.
And we'll catch you all next time. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.